everybody, and happy Friday here in the beautiful land of enchantment. We are so excited to have you guys on today with us as part of our Square webinar series in partnership with New Mexico Tech. Shout out to them for sponsoring this series, and then also to New Mexico Tech for keeping us technologically as advanced as we can be. And so we appreciate all the support in the community, helping us learn all this fun technology. And so I feel like we've learned something out of this COVID crisis, and I hope that we continue to use this platform going forward. It's kind of nice to be able to chat and see everybody's faces. So today we really want to delve in and talk about the hospitality and tourism industry here in New Mexico. But before we get started, I want to remind everybody that's out there watching that we were lucky enough to get some feedback from our members. We've been reaching out over the last few weeks, and we did a survey, and the survey is still open, and we're still hoping that you guys will participate in that because we have 2 more weeks of the webinars, and we're making sure that we're bringing to you the pertinent topics that you guys are asking about and want some more information on. And so you can find that survey link here inside this post. I believe Angelique will get that posted for us. You can also find it on the front of our website at ahcnm.org. And we can also find it on pinned to the top of our Facebook page as well. So we appreciate you guys taking 5 minutes to answer 5 questions that helps us guide how we're going to move the webinars forward. So before we get started and introduce the panelists, I wanted to say that here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber, we are so lucky to have an entire department dedicated to hospitality and tourism, and that is our Chamber Convention and Tourism Department. So with us today, we have our Vice President, Mr. Jim Garcia, and we also have with us from the New Mexico Hospitality Association, Ms. Kathy Como, and we also have with us the President we all say different acronyms around here, Adrian, so you're going to correct us, but GALA.
GALA, there it is, you got it.
GALA.
Montoya. So I just want to have you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us real quick about how you're involved in the industry, and then we're just going to kind of have some fun today, ask some questions, maybe some questions that can help the public, especially the businesses and that are being impacted right now in your industry. So let's just start with Adrian, since you're right up in the top corner.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. We've faced really tough challenge over the past several weeks, and this is a passion of mine. I've been in the hospitality industry for now 17 years. So Jim, yes, I did start when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
I started as a bellman at the Sheraton Old Town, and now Albuquerque, and this is a passion of mine, and never seen anything like this. And I'm honored to be here today. I'm honored to be the president for the Greater Albuquerque Hotel and Lodging Association. We've worked very, very hard over the past couple of weeks. Like so many other industries, hospitality is what we've all done for most of our lives. The hotel industry, like other industries, have been severely impacted due to COVID-19. We are staying optimistic about everything going on, but know there will be a lot of work ahead of us to get things up and running again. We have had to face several different challenges during this crisis, but one stands out to me and the organization, and that's all the associates that have been furloughed and laid off this past month. In January, we had 45,000, a little over 45,000 employees in our industry in the city of Albuquerque, and we have seen that decrease. We have not seen those numbers yet, but our goal is to bring back all 45,000 of those employees to this industry. So that is our goal. And I'm grateful to be here today, and thank you so much for having me.
Ms. Kathy, we're going to switch over to you and give you a minute to introduce yourself and tell us who you're with.
Well, I'm the CEO for the New Mexico Hospitality Association, and I'm really honored to be here. It's great to see Adrian and Jim and you Shannon, even if it's remotely, because I've been missing having contact with people, even though we've had lots of Zoom meetings and lots of webinars to try and keep in touch with the industry. We, of course, like Gala, represent hospitality and tourism, and we represent it across the state. And we're seeing the same tragic consequences of this stay-at-home order. It's important that we want to keep everyone healthy, but it has been heart-wrenching to see the economic and emotional impact that these hospitality workers have had to go through, and that hoteliers are having to deal with, and tourism businesses across the state. And so we have been really working hard to try and make sure the industry stays represented both at the state and national level. And most of all, we're starting to look forward to be able to work on a recovery plan and to help this industry, which is the driving force of New Mexico economy, to help it come back better and stronger than ever.
Awesome.
And that is so true. We're going to really deep dive into that here in just a minute. So important. And Mr. Jim Garcia, who we lovingly call Jefe around the chamber parts, if you could introduce yourself, tell us about you and your background in hospitality.
Oh, thank you, Shannon, and thank you to New Mexico Tech and Square for being participants and helping us put this series on, because this is really good information. My name is Jim. I'm the Vice President of your Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Proud to be at the position I'm in right now, because we are doing a whole lot of things for the community. Like Adrian and Kathy said, we really, our heart goes out to the community, all the community, small businesses, because we represent a lot of small businesses also. My background is in the hospitality industry and the restaurant business. And Adrian, I know you've been 17 years in the hospitality industry, but I have tennis shoes that are 17 years old. Just want you to know that.
I was waiting for that, you know. I was waiting for that.
So yeah, I got you. I got about 30 more years than you on that. But I love the industry. I love what it does for New Mexico. I know we're a community of kindness. We're a community that sticks together. We're rich in the extraordinary, and that's the name of our event today, is Rich in the Extraordinary. And I love here. I work with Balloon Fiesta as well, and I'm going to give you guys some updates on Balloon Fiesta in just a little bit also.
So, you know, we have our furry friends behind us. We all have kids.
Sorry about that.
We have, no, it's okay. And we can mute too. If you guys have to say something to somebody in the background, it's fine. You can just hit your mute button. But this is the new world that we live in. This is how we're adjusting. And, you know, we have our Zoom meetings every day, and you see kids running in the background and dogs running outside. But it lets everybody know that we're human and we're all in this together. So I think there's nothing wrong with a little dog barking here and there. So let's really quick, let's get right into this. Jim, you know, I have been lucky enough to work with you for years and here at the Chamber for many years, and learned a whole lot about the hospitality and tourism industry, but definitely don't have the experience and the knowledge that you guys have as a panel together. And so Jim, maybe you could start us off with some stats about the New Mexico tourism industry, and then we can start talking about some of the effects that COVID has had on it, and we know it's a huge impact right now. And then you know, we want to move into how are we gonna move forward. So let's start with the stats.
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you that Kathy's probably better versed in the stats, but I will tell you that it's one of the second largest employer in the state of New Mexico. There is a lot of dots that get connected to the different industries. The ski industry alone is a $500 million industry here in New Mexico. And I know they got their season in, and we missed some things on there, but I'll give you some other really important stats. Balloon Fiesta, we just did a economic impact study most recently and last year. And there's the direct economic impact was $186 million. And that's directly related to gross receipts, taxes, and revenues. I want to tell you about also the Gathering of Nations, which is going to be it would be 2 weekends from now. And it's actually going to go on this year, and we're going to do it virtual. They're one of our biggest clients here at the Chamber. So they're going to do a virtual one. And we actually did segments that they put on YouTube, and it'll be a series that was taped from last year. So they're expecting, a couple of 100,000 people that are going to be visiting that one alone. So Kathy, maybe you can weigh in on some of the other stats around the industry?
Sure. Well, when you look at the hospitality industry as a total, we represent over $6 billion of total revenue for the state and over 100,000 jobs. And so, as we alluded to earlier, this impact just on the workforce alone is going to be catastrophic. And so we're really looking forward to starting to work on coming out of this and starting to get the hospitality numbers back up, and also trying to work with state and federal authorities to make sure that during the time it takes us to ramp up, that we take care of these workers, because the workers are the reason we're successful. And we need to, I think we've all learned what an essential worker really is in the last few weeks, and how important just these baseline frontline workers are to making sure that the industry succeeds. And so we are really looking forward to being able to put some plans in place and start to get people back to work.
That's great.
Awesome. Adrian, I
Shannon,
wanted to.
Shannon, let me add one thing real quick.
Please.
I just wanted to add, there are restaurants right now that are open, you guys. There are a lot of people that are trying to do the best they can with what they have, and they're keeping people employed. Shannon, I know me and you have lunch every day, and we're getting a pretty good variety because we're spreading it around. But I really commend those people that are staying open. So I would like to just reassure everybody, please go out, spend some of your dollars, tip a little extra. I'm not a good tipper, but now I am. Just kidding, that was for Adrian.
Yeah, we know that, Jim. We know that.
I know.
Come on.
But no, we're going to open this industry back up. We're going to square it off. We're going to have new rules and guidelines. We're going to be able to probably do it a little slower and have more guidelines to it. But we're going to open.
Hey, if you've changed your tipping habits because of this, we've done one thing better. So great.
I promise you.
That's awesome. So Adrian, I want to start with you. Industry. Can you share with us a little bit about who and what groups that encompasses, hotels, restaurants, what have you, but there's also a lot of other small businesses that are included in that, and some are more larger than small, but share with us some of those affected businesses.
Sure. If you think about hospitality and tourism, it relates to not only hotels and restaurants, it relates to tour companies, it relates to retail, it relates to vendors, food vendors, liquor vendors. It encompasses a lot more than just hotels and restaurants. And I think that's the toughest part during this time, because when a hotel is committed to only having 25% occupancy and only 5 or more people for gatherings, can't have their bar open and can't have their restaurant open, only the restaurant for to-go and curbside, it affects everyone. It not only affects the hotel workers, it affects the food vendors and food purveyors. It affects, the shops and galleries around the areas of the properties. It affects everyone. And I think that's the challenge we face right now is you have a property that has multiple venues in it and has thousands of customers coming on a daily and weekly basis. It not only affects those people that are inside of the hotel, it affects the area. It affects small businesses with 5 or less employees that are doing their best to make sure they sell, and they really do a great job of telling the story of Albuquerque, New Mexico, when those customers go into these storefronts. And that's the toughest thing to really figure out right now, is because when we have no occupancy and we have no customers, it not only affects us, it affects this entire area and this entire city. Small businesses, I commend, just like Jim said, I commend all these businesses that are doing to-go and curbside, support local. We're doing the same thing, Jim. We are picking a different restaurant daily, a local restaurant. Support those local restaurants. Support all restaurants. There's people working at restaurants that may not be local as well. Mm-hmm. All businesses have been affected, and unfortunately, with the restrictions that are currently in place, we will get ready to reopen our businesses, but we will have to change what we do. Social distancing will be something that will be normal to all of us now. And we have to figure out what the best way to do that will be. But I know we have the best people, and we will make sure that happens.
So based on a couple of things you just said, I want to do a quick reality check for our viewing audience and for anybody that may be watching this down the road. We talk about economic impact, and we talk about the certain businesses within the tourism industry, but let's take it one step further. When you have a hotel that can't have full occupancy or is limited to their occupancy, that also means they're limited on what they're buying from their food chain and their suppliers. It means they're limited on their printing supplies, their technology cosmetology supplies, all of their deliveries. And think about what comes to a hotel. There's soaps and shampoos and towels and all. So it's affecting a whole range of industry, not just the hotels and the restaurants and the different tour companies. And so I think that on a larger scale, because it is such a large industry in New Mexico, it's hurting so many small businesses. And just the thought of reboosting and getting back going. So I'd like to jump over to Kathy for a minute and also ask you about that. You know, you have a lot of members in your organization, and what are some of the ways that people are talking about what's happening now, and how are they talking about moving to back to how do we open this industry again?
Well, you know, there are so many moving pieces, and so we're really starting to have these conversations as an industry. But as you mentioned, it's not just whether the hotel is open, it's what they're spending money on and who relies on that hotel as their downstream client. And so we are working with the tourism department and the governor's office and all of our members across the state to try and really determine what that economic impact is. And we have there's a set of surveys out there right now. They're on the tourism department website, and we're getting ready to put them on our website. And we're encouraging businesses to really go and share, even though it's heart-wrenching and it's hard and it takes time, and we know people are dealing with staffing shortages, but we really want to encourage people to participate in these economic analysis projects, because that's how we can start to put together a comprehensive plan, and we'll know what we're really dealing with. Because right now, we don't even have a full picture of what the economic impact is, because it's happening in stages. I just read an article this morning. You know, the major food suppliers like Shamrock and Cisco, they saw an initial surge in business, but now they're hitting that plateau point, and they're starting to have to look at doing some layoffs and cutting back on services and hours. And so we're just starting to see the flux of the impact of all these layoffs and all these closures. And so I know it's a headache, but we really want to encourage people to go online, to go to the tourism department, to fill out those surveys, and to participate. There's a lot of task forces that the governor's office and the tourism department and economic development and workforce solutions are putting together. And we want to encourage as many businesses as possible to participate again in those task forces, because the best plan involves the most input. And we really want to make sure that every business's voice is heard, so that as we start to create rollout plans, we know what the circumstances are and what we need to do to get the most people back working as quickly as possible.
So you made a great point, and I think that we can't reiterate that enough. Even here at the Chamber, the more information we have, the better off we are in the future and setting together those rollout plans. So Jim, you know, here in our in your department, but here with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber, we're also seeing it. So if you could share with us a little bit about some of the stuff that you've been seeing within your department and how you're adjusting.
Thank you, Shannon. You know, there's a whole lot of moving parts, like Kathy said, and what we are doing, we're concentrating right now on the future. We already know where we've been. We already know what's going on with the world, and we're good with that. So our job is to animate this economy. Our job is going to be, how do we get this thing restarted? We have a convention and tourism department. We're one of the only Hispano chambers in the country with its own tourism department, and we're aggressive. We have actually been going over with conferences that we're thinking about coming to Albuquerque even next year, and we've actually pulled them in a year earlier. So there's a migrant farm workers conference called MAFO. Adrian, I know you know Lalo, and you know the people very, very well. They were thinking about coming here in 2022, and we're actually bringing them in next year. So we've been very aggressive in our tourism department at calling some of these conferences and making deals with them to come in. We also, LULAC, largest Latino organization in the world, is bringing their national conference here next year. It'll be probably one of the larger conferences that we've had here in Albuquerque. So we're not just waiting. Our convention tourism department, they're having like ducks under the water, and they're making phone calls, and they're doing it all from home. But we actually landed 2 more conferences after that. Sadly, one of our biggest clients is the Navajo Nation. We service the Latino markets and the Native American markets, and the Navajo Nation is closed down. So we're really trying to help them. I'm really proud. John Lewis, one of our staff, literally got in his car and drove to Gallup this morning to deliver 4,000 masks and 8,000 gloves. So he just got in his car to do that. So our job right now is to connect the community, because we're about culture, community, and commerce. And that word commerce means a lot. Commerce means that we're getting that engine going, that we're getting it started. Adrian, you guys, sadly, you had the sawmill open, and then the next week you couldn't even stay open. I can't wait for that grand opening, because we're going to get out there and we're going to spend a lot of time at your place over there. Chaco, we just had Deadline Hollywood there about a month ago, and man, that was huge. The film industry is here. The film industry is strong. The film industry is putting their money where their mouth is and stepping up. So I think Albuquerque is going to come back sooner than most cities, because we have the fight and we have the vigor, and we have 300 days of sunshine, so.
And I agree with you. I agree with you, Jim. I think that if there's one city and one state that's going to come out of this faster than most, will be Albuquerque and New Mexico. You've seen with all the charts and everything going on, we have done a fantastic job with social distancing. And if that's something that it's going to become the norm for us, we've already done a great job. And so when we come out of this, we're going to have plans in place, and we're excited to show off Sawmill Market and this whole district. And we're definitely excited for everyone to see that once again.
Adrian, I want to ask you a question. Jim barely touched on it, probably not even knowing that he did. But again, a lot of people out there that are not in your industry don't necessarily understand how it works. Would you share with us a little bit about the importance of lodger's tax and how that works through the city cycle and the whole, how it benefits everybody? And I don't think that people understand that when hotels are not full, that money's not flowing. So if you could share with us a little bit about that.
Sure. The past, 18 months, Albuquerque has seen, an increase in lodgers tax contributions to the city of Albuquerque. We've seen an increase in occupancy. In 2019, we saw an increase, of RevPAR, which is revenue per available room, in the month of February of 5% this year. And when lodgers taxes, when hotels are full and occupancy is great, lodgers taxes increased, and that is able to not only contribute to the city of Albuquerque, but contribute to projects, contribute to the city. And if hotels are not busy, lodgers tax will see a decrease. And unfortunately, we already seen that with hotels that are not open, hotels that have to abide by the 25% or less occupancy. But we have to strive to continue to get occupancy up, not only in 2020, but 2021, 2022. Lodgers tax is so important, and if hotels are not full, lodgers tax will continue to see a decrease. And we have seen so many increases over the past 18 months in lodgers tax, because hotels have been busier, because organizations like Gala, organizations like the Albuquerque Hispano, Visit Albuquerque, and all the hotels and all the shops and vendors and restaurants that make up this beautiful city.
Shannon, can I add something to that?
Yes, please.
So that was a great take, Adrian. So we're a contractor here at the Chamber with lodgers tax, and we get fees. We get just under $1 million to service. Part of it is the marketing fund, and then part of it goes to the operations. But Adrian, you were right. The lodgers tax fees come into the state, and then it goes to marketing, and we're one of the marketing resources for the state. The other parts of that money goes into helping build up the convention center. So it's a big spider spoke wheel, if you will, with a lot of components to it. But when the lodgers tax the lodgers tax money's not coming up, and now there's Airbnb monies that are coming in that are contributing to the lodgers tax as well. Well, Airbnbs, they're not doing well. I have an Airbnb. I have not had anybody in my house in over 2 months, and so that's hurting me a little bit. But there's a lot of moving parts, but lodgers tax is important. It also drives the city. I mean, the city uses these contractors to help promote the city and bring events. And the last thing I wanted to tell you was a lot of these events are planned 2 years out, 3 years out. The commitments to the convention center, the commitments to the hotels, we're signing contracts. Adrian, you're signing contracts that are 2 or 3 years out, and we're doing the same thing. So this is going to take a while for us to get this thing started again.
I think, just before to really make sure that we hone in on lodgers taxes, it's so important for marketing. We have to market the destination. We have to market the Albuquerque market, the New Mexico market. We have to focus on dollars spent for marketing. We can't forget about marketing. We got to market. If we don't market, we will see a decrease in business. We have to continue to market. because we do. Jim is absolutely right. We see business 5 years out. And if we do not market, we will see a decline. And so we got to continue to keep these hotels busy so we can continue to get that economy back to where it was.
So I want to jump in and go back to Kathy for a minute. And I want to just reiterate again for anybody that's just joining us. Kathy just recently spoke about some stats, and one of those stats was the New Mexico tourism and hospitality industry is responsible for $6 billion a year and over 100,000 jobs. So Kathy, can you please tell us a little bit maybe about some of your members of your organization or any of your clients that you have spoken with? What are some of the things that they're doing right now to try to stay positive, because that is such a huge effect on largest tax dollars that supplements a lot of other organizations, and then also on and also on the jobs of them having to either lay off or furlough at this time?
You know, as we mentioned, it's been a huge impact, but what we're seeing, and we talked about this a little bit before we actually even started this call, is this is such a resilient and creative industry. And we're seeing so many examples of hoteliers that are thinking of new ways. I mean, we've already talked a little bit about the restaurants getting creative with how they do pickup or doing takeout when that might not have been a huge part of their model before. What we're seeing are hotels really do is start to be creative and to reach out in their community to see what the needs are. We're seeing like the El Rancho Motel in Gallup, they identified the fact that a large number of the homeless people were contracting COVID-19. And so the El Rancho Hotel actually, they have a segregated section of the hotel, and they're setting that up and giving that space to the community so that those COVID-19 patients have a safe place to recuperate, and it gives them a chance to get healthy and keeps the rest of the community healthy. We're also seeing, of course, the generosity of the industry in reaching out to providing free or discounted rates to frontline workers, healthcare workers. We've had a lot of hotels who want to keep some of their staff on, and so they're partnering for healthcare workers who might not want to go spend the night at home because they are afraid of exposing their family to something that they may have picked up at work. And so again, they're thinking of ways to support the community. We actually in New Mexico had one of the highest participation rates in the Hotels for Hope program. That was a national program sponsored by the American Hotel and Lodging Association. And more than 130 of our hotels stepped forward and said, wow, you can use our facility if you need it for frontline workers, for emergency responders, for federal workers, for isolation facilities. So it's such a generous, resilient industry. They've also were, some of the first to apply for some of the SBA loans so that they can keep employees in that work pipeline. Even if they're having to reduce some hours, they're really trying to keep people working. They've also been partnering in generous ways to support the social network. For example, Buffalo Thunder up in Santa Fe, or outside of Santa Fe, is partnering with the Food Depot up in northern New Mexico. They're serving as a sort of an offsite storage location and a residual place for the Food Depot and food banks up in northern New Mexico to stage supplies. And so I think, as we mentioned earlier, again, it's a creative, a resilient industry. It's a fighting group of people. And so we're really excited to see that we got this baseline to build on, and that there's a sense of family that will continue to help us through the recovery process and help us build and continue to grow.
So Adrian, I want to jump into you with the same question, because you also are the president of an organization that is extremely hit by COVID-19. But in case we didn't get it at the beginning, because I can't remember, can you please tell us what the acronym stands for? Because I know that we posted it on the link and everybody's probably going, what does this stand for? And then also, again, tell us about some of the members that you've been talking with and some of your clients, and what are they doing to be creative during this time?
I think, so for many years, our organization was known as Gaia. And so that was Greater Albuquerque Innkeepers Association. And so it's GALA. We changed our name last year, and it's Greater Albuquerque Hotel and Lodging Association. And so Charlie will be proud of me because I remembered what that was. And it was known for many, many years for the Greater Albuquerque Innkeepers Association. And last year we changed that name.
Well, Jim slapped me yesterday because I kept saying Gaia.
Yeah, you know, we all do, and but
Virtual slap.
yeah, but we knew it as Greater Albuquerque Innkeepers for many years, and we did change our name last year. But we have several of our members. You know, our members, you know, really are not only hotels. You know, like I said a few minutes ago, there's a lot of shops and tourist attractions. A lot of the restaurants that are part of our membership are really working really hard with the curbside to go. I think that's really the focus for the restaurants, is focusing on the curbside to go. We have businesses that are donating a lot of food. We have food purveyors that have done so many different food drives, which is incredible during these times. You know, revenues are down, and these food purveyors are donating food during these tough times. We have hotels that are prepared to turn into COVID-19 facilities, whether that's going to be somewhere that if someone who has, you know, COVID-19, they're able to go to these hotels and stay at those properties. So there's different venues that are turning into these safe places. Hotels are ready and accessible for any emergency personnel to stay. If they need to stay, you know, for 14 days in quarantine away from their families, hotels are willing to have these members stay at their properties. So many great things happening during a decrease in revenues, a decrease in occupancy.
Adrian, I think we lost you for just a second. We'll let him come back up, but I think
The market and the team is still working.
Hey, Shannon.
Just a bit of a lag there for you, Adrian, but we have you back.
we gotcha.
Okay.
That's the voice, the technology voice behind the curtain.
Someone started talking to me, you know?
Kudos to New Mexico Tech. Thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Hey, Shannon, can I give our listeners something, some good information?
Yes.
So what the other part that we have been working on here at the Chamber is being able to give resources for the community and for a lot of people that need it. So if you get a chance and you want to go to our website, it's ahcnm.org. We have several links where you can they're all hot links. If you're looking for loans, if you're looking for monies, if you're looking for workforce solutions information, if you're looking for resources in the community, if you're looking to see who's open, you can go in there and click on those and see what they're doing. But now it's getting late in the afternoon, so I'm thinking that this Taos Lightning, we may have to crack that open. Adrian, what do you think?
We're ready. You know, I'm born ready, but you know, it's 12:33.
So you know, right now the whole industry is getting ready. There's a lot of things that have to happen, Shannon. In the fields down south, you know what they're doing right now? They're planting chili right now, because that chili is going to start coming out in August. So there's a lot of things in our industry that has to happen timely has to happen right now. We want this to be a good summer. We want to come out of this. At Balloon Fiesta, we're planning on having a 49th Balloon Fiesta this year. And we had a great meeting 2 nights ago. Yeah, there you go, like that. There it is.
There you go, Adrian. Yes, I was gonna ask you a little bit later in the topic, but yes, share with us about Balloon Fiesta. I know you're also on the board of Balloon Fiesta for many years, and that has come up. People are asking, are we gonna go back to normal, and you know what that new normal is? So share with us about Balloon Fiesta. So
one of the sayings that we like to say at Balloon Fiesta is timing is everything, and it is. It is on our sponsorships. It's on our contracts. It's planning, it's what are we doing. I mean, this was a year where we were gonna have a slight increase in our admission. We're not doing that. We're making contingency plans so that our patrons can have a great experience, because it's all about the experience. And in some way, shape, or form, we are going to have a Balloon Fiesta. It's just how we do it. I mean, we can distance balloons. We can put them around the city. We can still have all the things that connect dots. They don't all have to be in one place. But we're on strong. Our sponsorships, we have a record dollar amount in sponsorships already this year. We have Canon is looking to go ahead and sign for another 3-year contract, which is our title sponsor. So everybody in Balloon Land is acting like we're the ones that are going to, you know, reintroduce this. Kathy, in that study that I sent you yesterday, there's a thing called reimagination, and it's a really, really good article. But it's talking about, you know, you got to reimagine who you want to be and how we're going to do it. We already know that we have the best culture and community here in New Mexico, and particularly Albuquerque. But Adrian, you're right. I mean, Old Town is a ghost town right now, and we have to turn the economy back up because we have to have those vendors moving again. So, but Balloon Fiesta, we are ready. We're going to be very specific on how we do it. We're already sold out on all of our RVs. We're all glamping, so you can't glamp this year, Adrian, because we're sold out. So a lot of the things that make us tick and make it work.
Glamp at Jim's camper.
Yeah,
I do.
he calls it glamping, and he's in an RV.
Yes. It's just a little RV, kinda.
He's hosting Pozole night this year, Adrian.
Yeah, we know he has tequila.
Every Thursday, the Thursday of Balloon Fiesta is always a Pozole party, and you're welcome to be invited to come to that. So
I'll bring my hat.
We've already pre-sold. Are you ready for this? We've already pre-sold $250,000 in tickets for the event, and we're going to refund them if they want the money back. We're doing things that we had never done before. So we're reimagination in action with that, just like we are here at your chamber, you guys. There's a lot of things that we're doing differently here. By the way, I'm the janitor. I'm the secretary. I'm the communications director, marketing manager. What's that?
Answer phones.
I answer phones like a bad dog. I'll tell you that right now.
So I want to do something fun, guys, a little bit to share with the community some things about we'll start with our city and we'll move out towards the state. But we got to know, we'll just start with Adrian, red or green, we got to know.
Christmas. You got to go both. You got to go both.
Got me. I was going to use that one.
You got to go both.
Red or green?
Or I prefer which is hotter. So.
Okay, hot chili. Okay, Miss Kathy, are you red or green?
You know, it depends on, I like red with my eggs, green with chicken.
Love it. Jim.
Okay, so nobody knows more about chili in this room than me. I'll tell you that straight up.
You're stealing all my thunder. I was going to introduce you after this as the chili
It's
king.
okay. Red before noon, green after that.
Interesting. See, and I'm a red chili beef, green chili chicken girl. Yeah. So that's how my family rolls. I want to ask you guys, here in the city, what is something that you miss and cannot wait till it opens up again here in the city? Jim, I'm going to start with you because you're hiding your face behind Orbit.
Because isotopes, I always tell John Traub that every year, summer doesn't begin until the isotopes start playing baseball. This year, last week was Tuesday, was going to be opening night, and it was going to be mariachi night. And so what we did was we did a mariachi video, and we actually did a whole pictorial after that. And you know what? I love John Traub's attitude. He said, when we're ready, we will start the season. And for me, Shannon, I miss those isotopes, man. That's the beginning of summer for me.
I love it. Kathy, what do you miss?
You know, I miss going out to dinner. And especially if I'm ready to sit outside on a patio, have a margarita, have dinner, and actually be able to talk to people that doesn't involve a camera.
And listen to some great music.
Exactly.
Yes.
Miss our music. Yep. Adrian, what about you?
You know, I'm going to put all these together because, you know, I miss United Soccer. You know, that's something that was big for me last year. I miss patio season. I miss concerts and music. I miss going to my local brewery and having a beer on the patio, and just going to my favorite local restaurant.
That is true. You know, something that I miss, especially now in the springtime, is I love taking the tram. I love going up there with new people. So I can't wait to do that again, and getting out and listening to some local music and having a good cocktail, if you will. I miss Level 5. That's our hangout. There's just so many different things. That's why we're excited. So before we go, guys, I just want to close up with share with us any words of encouragement you have for either your membership or for the community at large, and how you guys feel we're going to be coming out of this. You guys are some of the leaders in this industry, and they're looking to you for guidance and for words of wisdom right now. So I'm going to start with Kathy, if you don't mind. Ladies first, Kathy.
And thank you again for this opportunity to have a conversation with everybody. And I just want to say that I have spent the last three and a half weeks on so many national calls, and I am convinced that we are well poised because of our culture, because of the nature of our state, and the fact that we we know how to work together, that we are going to come out of this faster and better than other states. And again, I think we just have all the resources that we need, whether it's the cultural background that we have, the resilient workforce that we have, the creative thinkers that we have all around the state. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to be a leader in terms of post-COVID recovery, and we're going to be an example for the rest of the country to follow.
I love that. Mr. Garcia.
Well, you know what? I have to just piggyback a little bit of that because we have some great people that do great things for the state. I mean, Jen Schreier, Secretary Schreier, she is poised. We have 11 years now. We are with New Mexico True branding, and it's been a fantastic brand, been great for the state, and we're going to continue to be there. But you know what? It's the people that make the difference, and people here. I think one thing that we're going to get out of this, Shannon, is we're going to love differently. We're going to live differently. We're going to embrace each other differently. I mean, we're not even going to embrace. We're going to have to do that. But there's going to be an inherent love that's going to be shared with everybody because we've seen it. So I'm looking forward to getting out of it. And I will just tell you that right now that your Albuquerque Hispano Chamber is working on how we're going to open, when we're going to open, and who are we going to help to get open as well. So thank you, Shannon, for having me here today. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Adrian.
You know, you saved the best for last, so thank you.
No, I just went.
But you know, I'm going to piggyback on what Kathy and Jim said. You know, it's about the people. We have the most amazing people in this beautiful state of New Mexico, and I could assure you that the board of directors with the Greater Albuquerque Hotel and Lodging Association is working hard. We are having weekly phone calls, and we're going to get into some Zoom soon. So we are getting Charlie Gray to hopefully the Zoom with us very, very soon. And I could promise you that we are working behind the scenes to make sure that we open this. He's probably listening to me now and saying, Adrian, I told you not to tell anyone. Well, everyone.
I want to be on Charlie's first Zoom meeting.
So
I do too.
we are definitely gonna work hard to make sure that we open, and we are very excited to now learn what social distancing is, because as a hotelier, you would cram as many people as you could into a ballroom. You could cram as many people into your patio and become experts with social distancing. So thank you so much for your time. And to correct something I said earlier, my wife texted me and said, you don't like hot green chili, you're a weenie. So I think she's wrong. So I think I'm ready for some hot green chili.
I love it. You know, in closing, first of all, I want to thank you guys. This has been fun. You know, it was a perfect topic for Friday because it is serious, but it's also lighthearted because you know that by looking around and looking at the people that we know and the people that we care about that are in this industry and how they make this industry go. Some of the funniest posts that I see on Facebook are from the hotel peeps and from the restaurant owners. They're cracking me up. You know, one thing that I'm super excited about is right now our weather is so beautiful in Albuquerque and in New Mexico. And I'm hoping that people realize that we have such amazing attributes to our state. You know, recently we had somebody say, I've never been to a state like New Mexico. You guys are so embedded in culture, and it's so different than what we know in larger cities and larger states. And so I agree with all of you that in the end, we're all going to come together as one big group, one big happy family. There is no 6 degrees to separation. I said that to Secretary McCamley yesterday. I'm sorry, I don't think there's a 6 degrees in New Mexico. And so I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in person.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, you can, of course.
In times like these, it requires extraordinary leadership and accountability at a very high level. And we've been surrounded by some really great advisors, and our executive committee for the board of the Chamber of Commerce is just, I mean, they're calling us and saying, what can we do to support you? How can we help you? What are the tools that you need? And I just want to say a big shout out to our board. I also want to thank Square. Ahmed, I can't thank you enough for just your resounding yes, 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 what can I do? So thank you to Square for all of your feedback. Thank you to New Mexico Tech. Carlos, thank you for being a great board member and bringing New Mexico Tech and helping us make this whole thing happen. So Thank you, Shannon.
So exciting. So I'm not going to give another shout out to all of our sponsors, but I just want to thank everybody for coming together. We're going to be here on Monday, guys, the same place, same time. We're going to be talking about leadership through the COVID crisis and what you can look forward to in planning to reopen your business and what is that going to look like coming up, hopefully very, very soon. So we look forward to seeing you all out there again. And I hope you guys have a beautiful, fun weekend in this fantastic New Mexico weather. Have a great Friday, everybody. We'll see you all very, very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.